Good evening, welcome to Championship Live for a second of three massive games here on Good Friday from the Championship. Next on our roster is Sheffield United, who have gone three games in a row, losing, and they take on a Cardiff side who are in the bottom three and hoping and praying that a few drop points elsewhere might go in their favour tonight, but a lot is still to be waiting for Cardiff. Could they be heading to League One? We will see. Sheffield United, their task is to go one league up and back to the top flight. But is automatic promotion out of the cards now with three successive defeats and now sitting 5 points behind second place Leeds United heading into this one tonight? It's not done, but it might be very close to it. Let's have a look at the quick graphics, or the quick stats before the game. Sheffield United have won the last 5 meetings between the sides in the Championship, both home and away. They have lost their last 3 Championship matches, though, Sheffield United. Their worst run of form this season. Oxford, Millwall and Plymouth all picking up victories against the Blades. Cardiff have just one of the last 5 Championship matches, a 1-0 defeat to Stoke last time out, but only one win in that run. Only Leeds have picked up more points at home than Sheffield United, on 45 points from their home form, Burnley on the same, and Leeds 52. And Cardiff hold the most draws away from home this season, 11, winning just 2 of their away Championship matches this campaign. Let's have a look at the two teams then, starting with the home side. And Chris Wilder makes 4 changes to his team tonight. Michael Cooper starts in goal. Hamza Chowdhury, Anel Ahmedhodzic, Rob Holding and Harrison Burrows are the back 4. In midfield is City Peck, and Vinicius Souza, the captain, remains in midfield, with Ryan Brewster in the 10. Yezurin Raksaki and Gus Hammer are the wingers, with Tyrese Campbell leading the line. On the bench for the Blades, Davies, Sariki, Robinson, McCallum, O'Hare, Brooks, Cannon, Moore and Brereton Diaz. For Cardiff, it is looking really glum at the moment for the Welsh side in their safety hopes. Horvath starts in goal. A back 4 of Renamota, Fish, Chambers and O'Dowda the captain. In midfield, Robertson and Mansverk, with Alves in the 10. Tanner and Meite are the wingers, with the leading forward Yusuf Salek. Callum Robinson, not involved today, not available, is a big blow to Cardiff City. He's their highest scorer and he's not involved this afternoon. It's Sheffield United, it's Cardiff, and Sheffield United in third, looking to put pressure on the top 2, but a Cardiff side knowing there's drop points elsewhere in the bottom 3, maybe they could pick up some points to try and stave off relegation. Kick-off at Bramall Lane is next. A very good afternoon. Welcome in. Great to have you with us this evening for this one on LFS, our second of 3 Championship matches this Good Friday. And we had a dramatic 3 o'clock setting, 9 games underway, lots of goals. Let's hope for more of the same here at Bramall Lane this evening in this one between Sheffield United and Cardiff. A Sheffield United side that are in desperate need of a big 3 points after that really torrid run that they've been on. 0 points from their last 9 available is something that these Sheffield United fans are not used to seeing this season. Last season they were when they were in the Premier League, but not this season. And they don't want to return to that form. They've got 4 games in their campaign to try and end in the best of form possible. Because if it's playoffs they're going to get, they're going to need to be in best form as possible. As we get underway then at Bramall Lane. It's Cardiff that are desperate to keep themselves alive. But it's Sheffield United that really need a big win for their own hopes of promotion to the Premier League. And these two teams will scrap for everything this afternoon. That's what we hope to see and are looking forward to watching. Two sides with a lot on the line for their seasons and a lot to fight for. A point for Cardiff would put them on 43 points. But they would stay in the bottom 3 on goal difference. A win would be immense for them. It would put them right in the mix for safety. There's the early free kick here for Cardiff. Round about the edge of the box, and Sheffield United just about getting it away. Not very far though. Tanner couldn't find a way through. And Ollie Tanner gets his shot, or his opportunity closed off in front of him there. Well, if Cardiff were hoping to face a side that, you know, what opportunity do they need to try and get 3 points? And a very damaged Sheffield United side, considering their recent form, may be one we can sneak something out of today. They're not rigid, they're not in the form that they've been on all season and chasing promotion. They've stumbled, they've got a little bit frustrated over the last few weeks, not kept their composure, and maybe just stumbling towards the end of the season, and that might go in Cardiff's favour tonight. But as I said, Sheffield United, one of the best home forms in the division. As I said, only Leeds have picked up more points at home than Sheffield United this season, so Cardiff will have a tough job on their hands. And to boot, Cardiff have only won 2 away games this season, so it's not particularly something they do very often, winning away from home. There's a throw in there for Burrows. Sheffield United try and get some early possession here. Here's Raksaki, far right side. Comes inside into a very compacted area. Nicely won back from Sheffield United midfield there, and Cardiff win themselves a throw in down the left side off Raksaki. Despite the fact that Cardiff have only lost one of their last 5 championship games, that was the last time out at the Cardiff City Stadium against Stoke, they've only won one of those 5, and that was away at Blackburn. Drew with Sheffield Wednesday, drew with QPR, drew with Preston. So although you would see that as 6 points picked up from their last 5 games, still need to continue in that vein of form if they're going to get some hope of safety. Long throw towards the box. Bit of head tennis at the moment. Salek tries to fire it forward, but again, Sheffield United able to brick it away, and now there might be a brick on here. Clean through is Tyrese Campbell in the box, and that's a great challenge by Fish in the box to deny Tyrese Campbell a clean shot on the goal. That was some breakaway. Campbell burst in behind. It looked far too easy, and in the end he almost got away and almost got something out of it. It's Vinicius Souza there putting in a challenge. Cardiff winning the throw. We'll see this again. All comes from Salek trying to get the ball into the Sheffield United box. It's cleared away, and the clearance turns into an attacking move for Tyrese Campbell. 3 Cardiff players in and around him, and then in the end it's Will Fish that gets the block in, but it took a long time for that to be the case. That's Tyrese Campbell up and running, and that will give him early confidence. And he absolutely left the opponents for dead there. There's Vinicius Souza. Cross to Ahmed Odzic. Drifting forward. Dispossessed though was Matey. And brought down for a free kick there on around about the halfway line. As I said, we've already had a twist in the tail of the relegation battle earlier this afternoon. Luton winning away at Derby. And to be honest, that would give Cardiff a lot of confidence. Here's Matey making a break here in behind the Sheffield United defence. Didn't have the pace to keep it moving, and Rob Holding got back. Put it out for a throw-in on the far right side. See it again, it's a long ball from the back. Spun out towards Ollie Tanner. He committed the full-back, and Matey broke in behind Rob Holding, who eventually got back and covered over the possible threat. Long throw here expected from Cardiff. It comes in, it bounces. It's not cleanly cleared as it's hoofed away now. That's far from convincing from Sheffield United's point of view there. From the long throw, they let it bounce in their own 6-yard box, and a little bit of a worry that. It's a good long throw as well. We often see a lot of these teams that play the long throw in, they can't really get it a good distance on it, but that was a good long throw by Ollie Tanner. Just couldn't find anybody in blue to get on the end of it. Here's Sousa for Sheffield United. Couldn't find a forward pass. Holding. Burrows down their left hand side. Holding on to it well is Gus Harmer. In the end, dispossessed, and Cardiff battling well so far these early moments. As that was an attempt of a ball forward from Rinomota. Again, just not finding his target. Some sloppy passing from both teams to start this game so far. Neither side really able to sustain the ball for too long a period. Of course, the big story is, of course, Sheffield United. I mean, 3 defeats on the bounce. Easily their worst losing run of the season. That's a lovely touch by Raksaki. And feeds it forward for Chowdhury. He tried to return the ball, but in the end, intercepted very well there by Mansverk. It's bouncing around the box. It's cleared away by Cardiff. Decent defending. As I was saying about Sheffield United, that horrid run of form, and it didn't help the cause whenever Chris Wilder quite kind of, I would say it was kind of a backhanded comment about Plymouth, and he says why they're bottom of the table is they're not good enough. And you know, I think making comments like that, maybe one, shows his frustration from the previous 2 performances before the Plymouth game, but also the fact that the pressure's on. As Hamza Chowdhury committing himself on a couple of occasions, but in the end, Callum O'Dowda had the last battle with Hamza Chowdhury there, and it goes out for a goal kick. But yeah, as I was saying about Chris Wilder in that press conference, almost slating Plymouth for the position they're in, and maybe discounting the fact that they could be a threat, and then of course they end up beating them with 2 late goals, Plymouth, last time out. And you know, is that kind of one of those things that maybe the pressure's getting to them? Maybe they're falling and stumbling at the wrong time of the season. You know, they've been in a wonderful vein of form all season. You know, they were, of course, one of the best teams in the division. They'd lost 6 games, obviously, all season before the 3 on the bounce. So they've lost a third of their games this season in the last 3 matches. So it is a torrid run of form and well out of character for Sheffield United over the season. But if you were going to have a form like this, you certainly wouldn't want it in your last 6 games. And that's where the troubles come, because, you know, before this run of form, Sheffield United were well in the mix, and it was a 3-way title race between Burnley, Leeds and Sheffield United. And this bad run of form in the last few weeks has really just kind of put water on the fire of Sheffield United and stumbled them a little bit. They can get it right back up again if they get the win tonight, and Leeds don't win later. They're still quite in the mix. It's a realistic possibility. They're not done and dusted yet. A win this evening would put them just 2 points behind Leeds before Leeds United play later on this evening. And you know, if they don't win, the pressure's back on Leeds, and Sheffield United are back in the fight. But it's a little bit of a long stretch, you know. But we'll have to wait and see. Lots of twists and turns towards the end of the season, and as was the case on a number of occasions with the battle for promotion, the playoff places earlier this afternoon, Good Friday and Easter Monday could either end the team's season or really make it to the end of the campaign. There's Ray and Brewster a bit irritated there that the throw-in goes against him and his team. Flame Edit says I'm from Bangladesh. Big fan of Hamza Chowdhury. Great to have you with us. Hamza Chowdhury, of course, playing right back for Sheffield United for this one. As Rob Holding finds Gus Hammer. Oh, under pressure there was Burrows and kept in by Hammer. Well intercepted by Rinamota. Down the right side is Tanner. Fizzes one into the box. Just a little overhit. But Alves keeps it in play. Left-footed delivery by O'Dowda. Into the box. The header by Salek is just too close to Michael Cooper. A little bit better from Cardiff. They've started this game decently well, have the visitors. They're under their own pressures. The relegation battle. In its current form, Cardiff actually haven't been in League One. In its current form, that is. So, certainly been something of an anomaly. The last time they were not in the Championship, actually, was the 2018-19 season when they were in the Premier League. It was the last time they weren't a Championship club, Cardiff. Of course, they got relegated the first time of asking in that season. Finished third from bottom. And have been in the Championship ever since. They came ever so close back in the 22-23 season to going down. Ended up finishing 5 points off the bottom three. But last season was a much more promising affair for Cardiff. They finished 12th, very mid-table, and looked like they were heading up the table, maybe edging in the right direction towards maybe a playoff push. But this season has taken a very drastic turn, and certainly in the very wrong direction. And you could possibly say that shows how kind of closely fought the Championship is. More than ever before. And at the start of today, every Championship team had something to play for, mathematically. Every team either had a mathematical chance of being relegated or playing in the playoffs. And of course that isn't the case now after the 3 o'clock results, but that was the case going into today's action. So it once again exemplifies how tightly knit this Championship division is, and just makes it ever more entertaining and more unpredictable for people that are covering the league and people, of course, watching it. No one knows what's going to happen week from week. One thing about Cardiff, they aren't too uncommon at conceding goals. 66 goals conceded this season, which is the third worst in the Championship. The joint second worst, I should say, with Portsmouth with 66 and Plymouth conceding 82. Now 84, of course, after their defeat earlier this afternoon. Portsmouth, apologies, have conceded 69. Cardiff with 66 alongside Sheffield Wednesday. So they do ship a lot of goals. They're not one of the lowest scorers. They've scored 45 goals this season, Cardiff. Almost a goal per game, which isn't around about the lowest. There is teams with a lot lower tallies of goals than Cardiff City. There's a throw in here down the right side. 15 gone. Sheffield United 0, Cardiff 0. And this one up Bramall Lane. As I said at the start, Sheffield United have won 5 on the bounce against Cardiff in the Championship, but their most recent meeting was in the FA Cup back in January, and Cardiff won 1-0 here to knock Sheffield United out. Keane Ashford, with the only goal of that game, got Cardiff through to round 4 of the FA Cup and knocked Sheffield United out. And that is Cardiff's only win against Sheffield United in the last 6 meetings. The last 7 meetings, apologies, since their championship win over them back in August of 2017. This is far long ago that was, almost 8 years since they last beat them in the league. Long time since then. Hamza Chowdhury. Peck finding Hammer. Over the top it goes towards Campbell, but too far ahead. And easily caught by Ethan Horvath. Yeah, nice ball over the top by Hammer. And it was Ryan Brewster that ended up the closest. But just too much on it over the top there, and caught by Ethan Horvath, the Cardiff keeper. So far, Sheffield United not registered a shot in these early moments, as Sheffield United give the ball away in midfield here. Chance for the shoot. Well charged out there from Alves. And the referee's going to play advantage because Cardiff have got it back here. Fish. Tanner. Goes for the cross. Mitzi couldn't reach it. Chested down. The touch taken. It's fallen to Salek, who can't get the shot off. Mitzi can't get the shot off. Still alive. There's a lot of a scramble in the box there, and it ends up turning out to be a Sheffield United free kick as Ahmed Odzic had gone down. It was Salek and Matey that were in the middle. It was Tanner's lovely ball first off, half cleared away by Sheffield United. And it was Salek that had the shot blocked, and then Matey with a shot also blocked, and it just bobbled around. I think there was an offside actually in the mix there, which ended that move. But promising from Cardiff, not convincing defensively there from Sheffield United. Not clearing their nines convincingly enough. Nowhere near convincingly enough. And here they come on the brick. Ryan Brewster couldn't squeeze the ball through to Gus Hammer. And now the breakaway here for Tanner. Down the right hand side. Trying to feed it up the middle, but right between Mate and Salek. And nothing coming of that. I do say Cardiff have started the better of the two teams. Despite having a lot less of the ball, they have 5 shots in this game compared to just the 0 of Sheffield United. So they are getting forward and at a much higher rate and a much better rate than Sheffield United at the moment, who are a little bit, not stumbling, I can't keep saying that word, but they're not doing anything at the minute. And that's credit to Cardiff and their early onset defending here. They've still got a lot of the early possession though, Sheffield United, almost 2/3 of the ball. That's nice 1-2 give and goes, and Terry's Campbell's made the run in behind. It's chipped back across the box, but it's actually gone drifting behind for a goal kick. It was nice intricate play in the build-up between the lines. Nice give and go. 1-2, Hammer, Brewster, and then Brewster feeds a lovely through ball in behind for Campbell, diagonally through the defence, and Campbell just carried it a little bit wide, tried to flick it back across the goal, and it just took a whip out for a goal kick. Long kick there by Horvath. The ball goes down the line. Again, Cardiff Got away a little bit cheaply as Holding's ball over the top. Sends Raksaki on a run, and that was decent defending and well blocked. But Horvath, was he done here? He's given it away cheaply to Chowdhury. Wide to Campbell, who had nowhere to go. Got away with that one, did Horvath. Gifted Sheffield United the possession, and luckily his teammates bailed him out of trouble there. That might have just got the crowd up a little bit. As Ahmed Odzic burst forward, but completely upended by Callum O'Dowda in a very committed challenge that puts it out for a throw-in. The Cardiff captain showing his desire to win the ball. And his desire to stop Sheffield United there. Peck. Ahmed Odzic. Peck. Just about keeping possession. Very intense so far, Cardiff. Not giving Sheffield United time to try and play their passes and time on the ball whatsoever. Kind of rushing Sheffield United, and so far it's unsettling the home side. The ball swung out to the far right. Hamza Chowdhury's there, but again not given any time by O'Dowda. Does get the throw in though. Ahmed Odzic. Peck. Cross now to Rob Holding. Out wide to Burrows. Gets away from Tanner. Back to Holding. A little bit better from Sheffield United. So we're into the halfway point of the first half. Chowdhury. Peck has to go backwards with it. There seems to be that solidity from Cardiff. Out of possession so far in these moments. And I wouldn't quite say they've got Sheffield United on the ropes, but they just got them running out of options, running out of a bit of creativity. Sheffield United not able to find a way through just yet. At any rate whatsoever. Raksaki. Back to Ahmed Odzic. Now Holding. To Harmer. Reverses the ball into midfield. That was a nice ball. Down the right side, Souza. Finding Chowdhury. Back inside to Brewster. Now Ahmed Odzic. Moving in a little bit quicker now, Sheffield United. Finding those little gaps. Gus Harmer. Squeeze it through, but a little bit forceful there. But again, the Cardiff clearance not going very far, and Sheffield United recycle the ball again. Ahmed Odzic. Throwing everybody back now, are Cardiff. Whether they've just decided to step off a little bit and not apply their press so intently anymore. And that ball from Michael Cooper, the Sheffield United goalkeeper, had gone out of play. So a Cardiff throw. Clearance by Holding from the throw-in. A bit of a holding going on there between Fish and Campbell. And it's going to be a yellow card for Will Fish for his challenge. Yeah, he got a firm grip of Tyrese Campbell's shirt there. And then kind of just shoved him. And then held him back. Yeah. It's just a little bit silly from both players, but I think Will Fish did pull Tyrese Campbell back there. And the referee had no second thought from Tony Harrington there, the referee, to pull out the yellow card. An early booking for Will Fish, the Cardiff centre back. A good free kick opportunity here for Sheffield United. Run about the touchline on the far left side. It's Burrows and Harmer that are over it. It's at the end where the Cardiff fans sit. Burrows with a delivery. All the way through as Matey clears it away. And now they want to spring a counter. Might be a little bit of a move on. Tanner couldn't quite get through. Here he is again. Feeds it out wide now to Alves. He's got bodies in the box. Alves' cross. Far too close to Michael Cooper, the Sheffield United keeper. That's another little worry for Sheffield United, though, that when they did commit many bodies forward for that set piece, they were kind of caught out in the counter. That's a lovely touch by Raksaki, though, and he's burrowing down on goal. Raksaki lets himself down with a heavy touch. He did everything right up until he got to the box and kind of maybe got in his own head. The touch, the flick right through the legs of Callum O'Dowda is perfection, and then bursting away into the box, and the touch as he arrives into the box, a little bit heavy, and it just affects his rhythm, and he completely just falls apart really in the box, loses his balance and everything. But the build-up was perfect. It just needed the ending to be a little bit stronger. And that breaks on. Tyrese Campbell went on that break down that right side early in the game, and now Raksaki's done it too. So there is an opportunity down that right side for Sheffield United to find those spaces and opportunities in the wider areas. Here's Rinomota breaking through the middle here. Look at the space in the centre. Finding it out wide to Alves. Into the box. Has the shot. He opened his body up, but he had the shot so far wide it was near the corner flag. Again, it was good work from Rinomota. Alves stepped inside, but absolutely swung it well wide of goal. Nowhere near testing Michael Cooper whatsoever, but a little bit better from Cardiff. They're definitely in this game. Very much in this game. More than certainly in this one, and you know, despite there not being any shots on target yet. Here's Raksaki again, using his tricky feet to get his way up the field. Although the ball comes all the way back to Rob Holding after a couple of passes from the Blades. So there's a chance here for Vinicius Souza. The space opened up for him from the long distance effort, but he couldn't keep the shot down. Yeah, the space was there. The shooting opportunity was there, but the accuracy and the finish certainly was not from the Blades captain there, Vinicius Souza. And that's actually their first shot of the afternoon for Sheffield United. We're into the 29th minute and they've had their first attempt at the Cardiff goal. And it was well off target as well. Wasn't a memorable effort by any stretch of the imagination. Fish with a clearance. Up towards Matey. Hold it up well. Salek lays it off to Tanner. Tanner tried to return the favour. Just slightly swayed it away from Salek, and Rob Holding couldn't get much of a clearance to that. Will be a throw in down the left side. And the Cardiff head coach Omar Reza is pacing his way up and down the sideline, but I'm sure he can't be too disappointed with how his side have started. Here's Ollie Tanner with another one of those long throws. Flicked on by Matey, and as it drops from the sky, Michael Cooper's there to gather and send it flying up the field now. One for Raksaki to chase up against O'Dowda. Raksaki almost getting the better of the Cardiff captain, who just about makes his way back in. "30 minutes gone, 0-0. And a very close battle so far. Very little between the sides. Oh, that's a bit of a collision. Referee said there was no foul on either player there, so we play on with Cardiff in possession. Just as I say that, being dispossessed. Now here's a bit of space. Brewster trying to feed it through for Campbell. Couldn't quite find him. Again, that's what Cardiff have done well so far, is just block off those passing lanes for Sheffield United. In moments, you know, other than the 2 breakaways down the right side, there's been no real threat anywhere near the Cardiff goal. And that's credit to them out of possession, in the fact that they have kind of stifled Sheffield United in these early moments, especially in this first half. It's crucial for them not to concede early and dishearten themselves and maybe damage the confidence. The longer it goes on, the more confidence Cardiff will build at 0-0. The question remains, how long will it go on for? How long will it last? Here's Ryan Brewster. Trying to force one towards the box, but Raksaki couldn't keep a hold of it with the sheer pace of the effort. And it's gone away for a Cardiff free kick. Taken there by Horvath. Again, Souza got the header and Holding brought it down. The clearance there didn't quite work out, and again, Sheffield United not able to sustain any sort of real pressure so far on Cardiff so far. I think a lot of their possession, yes, they've had a lot more of it, but a lot of it's been in and around the middle of the field, around about that midfield position, and partly in their own half as well. So nothing really in the final third worth noting for Sheffield United so far in terms of their possession. Here's Hammer in between the lines, finding Brewster. Gets it back to Hammer, who lays it off now for the shot. And Hammer might force it over the line. And does do that. Gus Hammer continued his run into the box. And just as it looked like Ethan Horvath was going to catch the ball, he used his toe, as big as it is, and poked it over the line. And Sheffield United take the lead. And Gus Hammer, who started the move, ends the move. Again, I said they'd not really threatened, but in between the lines here it was Hammer. He laid it off to Brewster, returned it back. Hammer got the nick in front of the pressing Cardiff player, and it was Tyrese Campbell that played the ball forward. A little bit of a deflection. It carried it towards Horvath, and a fantastic toe poke with the left foot from Gus Hammer that just forces it between the legs of Ethan Horvath and into the back of the net. Lovely goal, and that's a much needed goal for Sheffield United. That breaks the deadlock and gives them a lead, much needed for their confidence and their form. Sheffield United 1, Cardiff City 0. And Gus Hammer finds the nets. Again, really good quality goal from Sheffield United. In the first real time we've really seen them do that one-touch passing in and around the Cardiff final third. And it's Gus Hammer that's intrinsically involved. Starts the move and ends the move, and pure perfection. Beautiful from Sheffield United. And they lead by a goal to 0, which is huge for their confidence, as I said. And now they want to build upon it. Chowdhury nicks it away down the right hand side. Finishes Souza across to Burrows, right into Hammer again. Forces it towards it was Peck, and he couldn't quite keep the possession. 35 minutes gone, 10 to go with the first half. Sheffield United have taken the lead. Just as Cardiff looked like they were doing so well in the game defensively and out of possession. They're carved open. Sliced right up the middle. And Gus Hamer's 9th championship goal of the season. His first since a 3-1 win over Coventry at the end of March. And actually his last 3 championship goals have all come at Bramall Lane. That Coventry game and the 2-1 win over Portsmouth. Hamer. Lovely little through ball. Couldn't quite hold on to it there, Ryan Brewster, but Mansverk has given away the foul on Brewster. So a free kick to Sheffield United around about the edge of the box. Yeah, just a little push on Ryan Brewster there by Mansverk. It's clear as day. And Sievert Mansverk gives away the free kick here. Well within shooting range. Gus Hamer's eyeing one up, as is Ryan Brewster. He's already got the net, found the net once. As Gus Hamer. As Brewster steps away, it's going to be Hamer and Burrows that are over it now. Looks like Hamer is the one that's ready to set this one up. Whistle goes from about 27 yards. Gus Hamer hits the post. Ever so close to adding a second to Sheffield United's lead in his tally. Great curling ball. The wall just gets beaten. It's not that they're out of position. It's just a beautifully whipped free kick, and it's just so unlucky for Gus Hamer. It just doesn't curl a little bit more inside, and it really would have been 2-0, and he would have been the architect of Sheffield United's lead. Quite incredible. But I gotta say, it's not out of character from Cardiff. They have conceded from 13 set pieces this season in the Championship. It's not out of their character to concede from those sort of positions. And I'm sure they're thankful 13 didn't become 14 there, and 1 didn't become 2, because it wasn't too far away. The woodwork denying Gus Hamer on that occasion. Hamer forced a reverse pass. It works out to Peck, who rides away 2 challenges, and Peck's broke free here. Lays it off to Brewster. Couldn't quite find the ball to Kyrese Campbell. And Alves trying to alleviate some pressure on Cardiff, but they have felt so heavily, as Hamza Chowdhury committed and wins the throw, and is not waiting around as Raksaki couldn't quite get on the end of the ball. Throw in was just too much, as O'Dowda has some words to say to Raksaki after they got a little bit physical. Tension's boiling over a little bit. That's what it means. The referee's just going to have a chat with both players here, O'Dowda and Raksaki. See it again, it's from the throw. Yeah, it's Raksaki that was pushed first, and then O'Dowda gets pushed back, and I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Just pointless. Absolutely pointless. It might be an interesting battle, though, between O'Dowda and Raksaki in that far side. Might have just sparked that little battle now. That scruffy moment. And Chowdhury there, well closed out by Chambers and O'Dowda, who combined to make sure that wasn't going any further. there's a little bit of space here for Cardiff if they want to get back on level terms. That's a fabulous challenge by Hamza Chowdhury. Will Alves was buying towards goal. Open space galore for Cardiff. And Alves takes far too much time. And Hamza Chowdhury comes in with a fabulous last-ditch challenge. But that's the fine margins. High open were Sheffield United though. But Hamza Chowdhury certainly made up reparations with that challenge. Nice give and go there between Campbell and Hammer down the left side. Tyrese Campbell has to go back the ways, linking up nicely here. Hammer, Souza back to Hammer, now forward to Burrows, lays it off to Tyrese Campbell. Campbell again, it's it back from Burrows, now Hammer. Good movement from Sheffield United. Holding now getting involved. Spins it out to Raksaki on the right side, who cuts in on his left, given a second chance. It falls for Chowdhury, who's shot right at Manswerk in front of him. And now Alves wants to break on the counter here, as Hamza Chowdhury's in close wake, but good turn by Alves. Breaks away into space and feeds it in behind for Matey, whose shot is blocked by Connor, and he was offside anyway. Yeah, it was a lovely little turn by Will Alves. And then Matey was just offside. Didn't hold his run for long enough. And he was quite clearly offside there. The Cardiff centre forward. And let's show you what the table looks like then. With Sheffield United winning, this is the way the table looks like. They stay in third. But remember, they will be just 2 points behind Leeds United with a win, and Leeds head to Oxford later this evening. Pressure might still be on, and they would keep a 5-point gap to the league leaders, of course, Burnley, with a win here anyway. So it's not done and dusted yet that Sheffield United might not get an automatic promotion place. It's still very much mathematically possible, especially if they turn this 1-0 lead into 3 points. Here's Burrows. Battling there with Rinamota. I think it's got a corner for Sheffield United, and Burrows holding his right ankle there for a second. But he's quickly returned to his feet as Gus Hammer comes over to take the corner. A little bit of an issue here for Jezerin Raksaki, who's going to need a little bit of treatment. So we will await and see. Well, speaking of Sheffield United, if they keep this, if they win this game tonight and get back on the horse per se, you know, they really could bounce themselves right back into the mix. You know, they win tonight, they go within 2 points of Leeds, obviously before Leeds play, but if Leeds win, the 5-point gap remains between them and the top two. But they head to Burnley on Monday. You can watch that live here in LFS. Easter Monday at 5:30. Burnley against Sheffield United at Turf Moor, and that could be massive, not only for Sheffield United maybe getting an automatic promotion, but also for the title race come Monday afternoon. Because say Leeds come and win their 2 games over the weekend, and then Burnley lose to Sheffield United on Monday, Sheffield United win here then it would mean it would be Leeds with a 3-point lead at the top, and Burnley only 2 points ahead of Sheffield United with 2 games to go. So it really would put the cat amongst the pigeons in that metaphorical sense, if they were able to do it. But that's a lot of ifs. There's still a lot of results that need to happen for that to be the case come the end of Easter Monday play. But it's still very much in the mix, especially if Sheffield United win tonight, and they've got a corner to try and add to their lead before half-time which there's 2 added minutes. Halmer, right-footed delivery. Whips it in beautifully. The header couldn't quite target the goal as Peck recycles the ball. Wide it goes to Halmer. Gus Halmer will deliver again. Fizzes this one. Headed away by O'Darda. And now Alves spinning away from his man and holding. And Alves was held. And he's going to get a free kick. Despite the fact that Sheffield United have been so much better since the goal, they still have had less shots in the game than Cardiff, which is quite staggering in that fact, albeit one less, but still less. Cardiff had 6 shots, Sheffield United have now had 5. So they are still getting themselves forward, Cardiff, but it's just not testing Michael Cooper enough, and that's the question that will need to be asked of them. But there is threat. I'd say Will Alves has certainly been one of their main threats. Ollie Tanner as well in that opposite wing. 2 main threats for Cardiff so far in this first half. So there is opportunities there. And with a 1-goal difference, the game is still very much in the balance. As the 2 minutes are up. But whistle hasn't gone from the referee there. Tony Harrington just yet. Throw in here to Cardiff down the right side. And as that throw in is taken, there's the half-time whistle. And a first half which again wasn't vintage Sheffield United, but what it was beautiful individual play. Gus Halmer, who probably could have had 2 goals in the first half for Sheffield United. The first, absolutely wonderful build-up play. He started the move and he made it a pass before he finished the move off. And a wonderful, intricate sequence up the middle and finished nicely with a toe poke. And then hit the post from a free kick as well. Could have added a second. But at half-time, Cardiff are still very much in this game. And Sheffield United not out of the water yet. Half-time at Bramall Lane at Sheffield United 1, Cardiff 0. We'll analyse that first half and look ahead to the later game coming up away at the Kassam Stadium between Oxford and Leeds. That's on the way in just a moment. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Championship Live. Half-time at Bramall Lane at Sheffield United 1, Cardiff City 0. At the break in that first half of our second game of the day on Good Friday. Here as we build up our Easter weekend coverage here on LFS. 3 live games today, 2 on Sunday and 3 for you on Monday to look forward to. So lots of action over the weekend. And at half-time in our second game of the weekend. And you would have to say, again, similar to the Cardiff game, or the Cardiff game, the Coventry West Brom game earlier this afternoon, at half-time there's not much between the sides in the fact that one bit of individual quality is what separates Sheffield United in this game. And not to discredit anything they've done in that first half, because I do think they've been the better side. Overall, I think once they scored the goal, they looked a better team. But at the same time, I would still say Cardiff are very much in this. One, that it's still only 1-0 and that there's only one goal in it, but also the fact that they've looked to threat themselves with the likes of Ollie Tanner down that right side and Will Alves down the left-hand side. So there is outlet there. There is output available. It's just not been great from their the central forward players, and the likes of Matchday and Salek so far haven't really got themselves imposed on the game. But overall, I think out of possession, up until obviously Sheffield United scored, they barely even got anywhere near the Cardiff goal. They hadn't had a shot on target until they scored, so they haven't been pummeling the Cardiff goal, is what I'm trying to say, is that it's not been a dominating first half from Sheffield United. It's been a better first half from them, probably than their previous performances, but also it's credit to Cardiff how they've improved from their previous results, and that was what their manager, obviously Omar Reza, said before the game about how he wants to see them improving every single week and every single game till the end of the season. And I think we've seen improvements there. You know, that the play out of possession was strong, it was compact, it was controlled, and they weren't allowing Sheffield United anywhere near the box. Now, of course, a bit of Gus Hammer. Hammer gets central, he gets a little bit of space. You give him an opportunity, you're going to pay the price. And they nearly paid the price twice in that first half, of course, with the free kick ending up hitting the post, which is unfortunate for Gus Hammer. But again, I would say Cardiff are very much still in this and very easily could get their way back into it. I mean, they had an opportunity. It was Alves, an opportunity. And I don't know how. I still can't figure out how Sheffield United, with that open, ball right through to Alves, and he had acres of space. There was no one within 25 yards of him. And in the end, gets the afterburners on Hamza Chowdhury and makes up for a pretty indecisive Will Alves, who couldn't decide on what his shot was going to be, and he took too long to try and take it and ended up paying the price, with Hamza Chowdhury coming in with a fabulous little challenge. But again, there is still opportunity for Cardiff in this game to battle back. But again, Sheffield United, you could argue, slightly unlucky that they haven't doubled their lead. Obviously, hitting the woodwork, and a Cardiff side that aren't the most resilient when defending set pieces, especially this season. They haven't been great defensively. 13 conceded from set pieces this campaign. So there is that frailty there with Cardiff, and I think Gus Hammer will be a little bit disappointed that he couldn't, in the end, finish that one off, and unfortunately the woodwork denying him. But it came close, and unlucky from him, his point of view, that was the case. Yeah, Cardiff have conceded 13 goals in 42 matches from set pieces. There are only 5 sides that have conceded more from set pieces. Norwich, Watford, Plymouth, Luton and Sheffield Wednesday all conceded more from set pieces than Cardiff. So they're in the bottom 6 in that terms in the Championship. So it's not a strong point of Cardiff by any stretch of the imagination. In terms of attacking wise, for Sheffield United, they also haven't had that as a major strong point for them in terms of scoring from set pieces. 10 goals from set pieces this season. That's the same amount as Cardiff have actually scored themselves from set pieces this season, but nowhere near the top. Derby have scored the most goals from set pieces this season, 19. Anyway, a little bit sidetracked, but the point I'm making is Cardiff are still very much in this game. By the finest of margins, they're still in this game, but that's all that matters. They're in this game at half time. But for Sheffield United, they've got the lead, they do not want to give it away, and they want to get themselves back on the kind of metaphorical horse, per se, of getting back into winning form, getting back into that rhythm of winning games of football to end the season, because if they don't get automatic promotion, the last thing you want to do is head into the playoffs in bad run of form, and your season could be over in an instant in the playoffs. It's that incredibly tough. So we'll just have to wait and see what comes of Sheffield United in this second half. Could the pressure get to them, or can they thrive under it in the second half. Jeffrey says, yes, mind the gap, Cardiff City. Everyone at Swansea enjoying this utter terrible match. Boring Sheffield United both parked the bus and a lucky break got them a goal. Love at Cardiff, enjoy League One from the Jacks. I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. Cardiff, remember, aren't down by any stretch of the imagination yet. A draw for them in this game would keep them level on points with Derby and Luton, so they're still very much in the mix there. Even a defeat would keep them alive. There still would only be a point behind those two heading into Easter Monday's fixtures as well. And Cardiff have a trip hosting Oxford on Easter Monday. That's not by any stretch of the imagination an easy game. Luton host Bristol City, another tough game, and Derby heading to West Brom. So all three teams in the bottom there have a tough game on Easter Monday. Plymouth, of course, rock bottom, a bit further behind. They host Coventry. So a couple of playoff battlers there, all in the contention, might have their say on a relegation outcomes as well. Right, that is half-time at Bramall Lane. A quick look ahead to what's coming tonight. Oxford against Leeds, of course, is our 8 o'clock kickoff. We'll be live from 10 to 8 for that one for you. So, well, that will round off our Good Friday coverage here on LFS this afternoon. And Leeds want to return back to the top of the Championship. They can do that with a win away at Oxford tonight. They would go above Burnley, who went top after their 2-1 win away at Watford this afternoon. Leeds would go back top on goal difference if they win away at Oxford tonight. For Oxford, well, they're not out of the water in terms of safety just yet. They're 5 points clear of safety, or clear of relegation at the moment. And a win tonight would put them 8 points clear with 9 points left to play for and all but safe. So they've got something to fight for as well, do Oxford, who another newly promoted side this season, looking to stay up for the new season. It looks like all three newly promoted sides, Derby, Oxford and Portsmouth, all vying to stay in the division, but Derby's safety is on much more tender hooks than the other two at this moment in time. But we'll see what we'll see. That's a strange thing to say. We'll see what actually happens later on, because Leeds, albeit from their standings this season, a little bit of a dip in form in the fact that they've dropped points in 3 of the last 5 games, albeit all 3 draws in the last 5. They've only 1 defeat in the last 24 league matches, I think it is. So they don't lose very often, Leeds. And they've only lost 4 times this season. Only Burnley have lost less. But yeah, they don't often drop points either, Leeds. And they had a little bit of a wobble recently. But they want to end the season strong and try and claim another title and claim automatic promotion. Because remember, last season they got over 90 points. And they were the only side to get over 90 points in the Championship's history without achieving automatic promotion. So they don't want to fail that again. It could happen. It very much could happen. But they certainly don't want to get themselves in that position again, to Leeds United. And Daniel Farker and his team will, I'm sure, have learnt from a lot of last season's mistakes. And we'll see what they can conjure up at the Kassam Stadium a little later on. For the second half here at Bramall Lane, it's very much game on. Sheffield United, more of the same, a little bit more potency in the final third. I think we need to see a little bit more from them in and around the box. But also from Cardiff's point of view, if they can get their wide players more involved, and the likes of Alves and Tanner on a more consistent basis on the break, in space, with opportunities to deliver into the box, they can also cause a problem. Because Sheffield United haven't really shown themselves as completely unstoppable in that first half, or invincible in that sense defensively. So there is still a lot to play for in this game and still a lot on the line. And we'll find out what comes, because the second half between Sheffield United and Cardiff is on the way next. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Championship Live. Second half of Bramall Lane on the way in just a moment. There's a reminder of all of the afternoon's results. The one that stands out, of course, is that 8-goal thriller at Carrow Road, where Portsmouth ended up 5-3 winners in the end there. An incredible game that was for Portsmouth to all but solidify their safety this season as a newly promoted side. And of course the big one, Burnley coming back from behind against Watford to retake top spot in the Championship as well. A reminder for you, don't forget one more game to come as the sets of teams arriving at the Kassam Stadium. Oxford and Leeds kick off at 8 o'clock tonight. That's an hour and a half away. I'm just getting pictures of Leeds United arriving there inside the tunnel and in the corridors of the Kassam Stadium. And of course a lot of outside talk about Oxford United. But yes, a big second half to come here at Bramall Lane to worry about before we get to our third and final game of the day, which will hopefully be an entertaining finale to our Good Friday coverage. There's a little bit of a delay here to the second half. I don't know what this is all about. I think there might be some substitutions incoming, which is changing things so far. Some Cardiff changes, that is, for them. So there's some interesting moves being made by Omar Riza at half time to try and give his side a little more of a chance in testing Sheffield United here. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That'd be so greatly appreciated. We thank everybody who's joining us this evening for this one between Sheffield United and Cardiff, and everybody that stayed with us all afternoon here on LFS for our coverage on Good Friday of the EFL Championship. I love Championship. The Championship over Easter weekend. It's what make or breaks so many teams' seasons at the business ends. And quite now, it's the business end for these two. Sheffield United in a promotion push. Cardiff and trying to stay once again in the Championship. They've come their closest to dropping out of this division 2 seasons ago and somehow clawed their way back and found a way to stay in the division. They're going to need an inspired second half if they're going to give themselves more hope and belief of doing it again this season. The double substitution, by the way, made by Omar Riza at half-time. Cian Ashford and Chris Willock have come on. And I said about how Ollie Tanner and Will Alves could be the threats. Well, I've just been proved massively wrong, because I don't think Omar Riza believes so, because he's brought the two of them off. That's an overhit pass there in the midfield by Robertson. And that just goes out of play for a throw. Well, having a look at the table, and I can show you the bottom of the table because we haven't actually shown you the bottom of the table as much today and what the situation is for Cardiff, because it's not a pretty situation. It's not dire, but it's also not pretty. Quickly looking at it, there they are in 23rd are Cardiff, and they're a point off safety. And if they lose this evening, they're going to need some big points in the final few games of the season if they're to stave off relegation under Omar Riza. Half time, they're not looking like they're going to get anything here, but look, big second half to come. Anything can happen. Sheffield United thought they were going to get it over the line against Plymouth last time out, and at home park Plymouth came back, scored 2 late goals and won the game. So nothing's over until it's over, especially with Sheffield United in the recent form they've been in. Horvath to Fish. Ball down the left side, nicely laid off by Matey, but couldn't quite find the substitute there in Willock. Callum Chambers gets his header forward. Doesn't go very far though. Sheffield United holding the ball here with Harrison Burrows. Back to Holding. Now back to Michael Cooper. I think for Sheffield United, it's all about getting the big result tonight, you know. It's not about putting a certain amount of shots in or really overly testing Cardiff City, but it's just about getting the result and getting it over the line and ending this poor run that they've been on. Of course, relative to their season, it is a poor run. And relative to a promotion push at this stage of the season, it is a poor run. And a run you do not want to be on, but that's all that matters tonight. It's just getting the 3 points, getting the win over the line and ending this run. Just give yourself some momentum going into the final 3 games of the season. Of course, Chris Wilder, he's done it before with Sheffield United. He got them from League One all the way to the Premier League a number of years ago. And, you know, it's possible to do it again. And, of course, the likeliest opportunity for Sheffield United to head back to the Premier League is obviously through the playoffs, but pick up some good wins. You never know what can happen elsewhere between now and the end of the season. There's a lovely long throw there by Cooper, finding Hammer in space. Lays it off now to Raksaki, who drives into the box. And Chambers got a last touch to that. It's going to be a corner. Callum Chambers there with a challenge. Yeah, it was a good break down the the left side from Gus Hammer. Through ball, beautiful. And a break on there, and good cover by Callum Chambers. Wins the corner for Sheffield United. Believe it or not, only the second corner of the afternoon of this game. Only one corner in the whole of the first half. Sheffield United had it. Now they have another one. Right hand side. Lots of pushing and shoving around the box. Raksaki's delivery, cleared away at the front post, brought down by Hammer. Little bit short as Matey tried to intercept, but Hammer gets the recovery and plays it back to Chowdhury. Raksaki. Back to Chowdhury and then Ahmed Odzic. Long kick there by Michael Cooper was far from convincing. Straight out for a Cardiff throw. Well, the last time Cardiff picked up victory at against Sheffield United was back in 2011. Was the last time that they tasted victory on this ground. They won 2-0 on that day. They have beaten them since. That was their last league victory against them in the at Bramall Lane. So, long time coming. 14 years it has been. Can they end that run tonight? Will Sheffield United make it a total of 6 league victories on the bounce against Cardiff, both home and away, over the last 2 or 3 years? Here's Chambers. Nice little ball forward. Fed in behind here with Renamota in the box with a cross. Cleared away. Kept alive by O'Dowda. Squared it across to Robertson. Manswerk out wide here to Willock. On the left side, right foot across by Willock. And it was really interesting for Matey, but it was just too close to Michael Cooper. Really good delivery by Chris Willock. Into the right area. Stepped onto his right foot, whips it into the box. Curling towards goal, and Matey was close. But just too close to Michael Cooper in the end. Once again, Cardiff are getting into the right areas. Just not finding the end product at the moment. Here's Peck. Brewster. Dispossessed, but Peck wins it back. Ahmedhodzic to Holding. And gives it out wide there to Rob Holding to Harrison Burrows, who was offside. Burrows a bit confused about that offside, but looked quite clear. Matey making himself a little bit of a threat in the air there, but again, just not able to create anything from it. I have to say, Cardiff making it a little bit too easy for Michael Cooper at the moment, the Sheffield United keeper. I think they need to test him a little bit more, put him in more difficult situations, ask him a few more questions, because I haven't really tested him. I haven't had a shot on target yet, Cardiff, and obviously you're going to need to do that if you want to score, but just need to start threatening, maybe put that little bit more pressure on Sheffield United at one end. But here's Harrison Burrows with acres of space down the left. Jinks his way through, lays it off to Campbell, back to Burrows, who tried to fire it, but Horvath I think gets something to it. There was a call for possible offside there, but flag stayed down. Campbell through to Burrows, and Burrows absolutely rifles it towards goal. And a good save by Horvath. Down to his right side, but Burrows again. Getting into half-decent areas, but just not working out. Will be a corner though. Burrows was onside. And Horvath's save puts it wide for the corner. Right-footed delivery from the left side. Headed away. Here is Peck to keep it alive. Down the right side again. Just good battling from Cardiff. Sheffield United still threatening. Down the left. Hammer. Couldn't quite reach it. And a bit of an interception. And now maybe a Cardiff break on. Nah, couldn't really make it work. And just control is sent back to the keeper for Sheffield United to settle the possession again in their favour. There's no doubt they've had a lot more of the ball, Sheffield United. That's been clear from the first number of minutes. But the big point that I would make is, despite having a lot less of the ball, Cardiff are still looking a problem, are still causing a problem, and I think the longer Sheffield United go without a second goal, maybe the more tense this stadium will become, the more tense the players will become, the more frustrated the players will become, and maybe the more confidence Cardiff will have in trying to steal an equaliser. It might just be ever so precious to them. Here's Raksaki to try and change the scoreline now. Dribbling towards the box. He felt he was held. Tony Harrington, the referee, saw no issue. As Cardiff come away with the ball here. On the left side, O'Dowda Couldn't quite find it to Willock. Intercepted. The ball fed wide towards Hammer. Well intercepted there by Fish. Now Cardiff want to break away here with Mansverk. Finding Willock. A bit more central, Chris Willock. Robertson. Wide to the right side here. It comes. Mansverk. Robertson. Willock. Ashford to Willock. Not able to break towards the box there, Willock, and eased off the ball. Brewster. Trying to get Sheffield United forward as Hammer almost run into trouble. With Ashford chasing him down, but Hammer, calm and composed, just recycles it back to his defenders. So we're about to hit the hour mark here at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United 1, Cardiff 0. Gus Hammer's beautiful intricacy in the first half, setting up the starting and finishing the move for the opening goal, and then came close to trying to find a second when his free kick crashed off the right post. That's a lovely switch ball by Hammer, and now Raksaki. The ball goes through, and Brewster was challenged there by O'Dowda, but clean challenge, said the referee, and just a corner. Maybe some delayed calls of a possible penalty, but not a chance. So Brewster winning the corner then for Sheffield United. Raksaki will take it on the far right side. In swung to the deep into the back post, but bounces all the way through. It was a good delivery. There's no one attacking it anywhere near well enough. Bit of a letdown there from Sheffield United. Raksaki put the ball right where it needed to go, and it's not good enough in the box there, Sheffield United, to make something of it. And they're chased to try and get a second goal. They've had one shot in the second half so far. Cardiff haven't had any, comparatively, but from Sheffield United, their attack is a little bit stagnated in terms of their output. Stagnated a little bit for both teams, really. As Peck went down, wanting a foul. He's not going to get it. Just a throw in for Cardiff here on this near side. Chambers. Horvath goes long. Akmenodzic wins the header, but brought down in the middle. Challenge there was Robertson. He won the ball. Mansverk finding it through here to Salek, who tried to get a shot off. Charged down. Again, far from convincing though from Sheffield United. As Rob Holding clears it away. Up towards Campbell, who we've not really seen very much of, Tyrese Campbell, in the second half. I think Chris Wilder's going to eye up some changes here, Sheffield United boss. Just to give his side a little bit more energy, a little bit more threat further forward. Chowdhury, Raksaki, Brewster, Chowdhury, and I think the referee's going to give a free kick here to Sheffield United. Maybe a foul off the ball, challenge off the ball. Anyway, free kick to Sheffield United, and I think they're going to make these changes. Just as that happens, Alex Robertson goes down for Cardiff, so there is a stoppage in play anyway for the Cardiff man. He's just kind of working his knee there, the physios. Maybe, yeah, it might be in that challenge with Hamza Chowdhury a couple of minutes ago, when I said he flew into that challenge to win the ball. And he might just kind of jockey his knee a little bit. So he's just getting all the checks done at the moment. So Sheffield United making these changes then, which took them a little while here. We've been stopped for a good 30-40 seconds, and they're now going to make these changes. So Tyrese Campbell's going to make way. And Brian Brewster's coming off as well. So Campbell and Brewster are being replaced by Callum O'Hare and Kiefer Moore. So O'Hare and Moore on, and Brewster and Campbell off. So further attacking changes in the game. The first two attacking changes for Chris Wilder's team. Just over 25 minutes to go. I want to just add that second goal to settle some, well, I wouldn't say nerves, but settle some slight doubts that they might be under a little bit of late pressure here. It's the last thing they want to do. But for Cardiff, what means is sustaining their championship status that they've held for so long. And, you know, it's one of these tough ones. Cardiff City, I've known them to be championship for as long as I can remember, so it's not something we know very often with this team. It's called a handball there. O'Dowda, was that out of play when he picked the ball up? Let's see it again. I think they're right. I think Callum O'Dowda touches the ball before it goes out of play here. He does. That wasn't out of play. He's got away with one there, the Cardiff captain. Could have saw a yellow card for holding on to getting a handball. Holding on to the ball there. And it was not out of play. Jumping the gun a little bit. There, the Cardiff captain, but he gets away with it. At least for now, anyway. Looks like David Turnbull's getting himself ready to get involved here. And the change is going to be coming in. It's going to be Robertson that's coming off. So they were going to try and keep him involved, but they're going to make that change now. So Robertson's off and Turnbull's on in the midfield there for Cardiff. Just trying to offer them something else. Quarter of the game remaining. 23 minutes or so of normal time until maybe they're in some trouble. Cardiff. Can they battle back? Or can Sheffield United get their first win in a couple? They certainly need it for their confidence, for their rhythm to the end of the season. Misalive says Cardiff were last in the Premier League in 18-19. They could be going the other way out of the Championship this season. Indeed, it was only, as you say, 6 years ago they were in the Premier League, albeit it was only one season, but they were still in the Premier League 6 seasons ago, and how the mighty have fallen, really. And as I say, this season might have come as a little bit of a shock to Cardiff, because they staved off relegation in 22-23, and then last season they bounced up to 12th and finished mid-table, and you thought maybe they could make that little extra push, maybe they could sneaky themselves a little bit of improvement, a little bit of reinvestment, some better quality players, and maybe they could push themselves up towards promotion and playoffs. But it's actually turned out to be completely the opposite direction, and they've fallen completely by the wayside this season, and maybe overestimated their quality and underestimated the quality of the league as a whole. As Turnbull whips across into the box, takes a deflection. It will be a corner. A beautiful delivery by David Turnbull, really pressureful, and Vinicius Sousa with the header that puts it out for the corner. And that's actually, I believe, the first Cardiff corner of the afternoon. It is indeed. 70th minute, they've got a corner, at the end of which their fans reside inside Bramall Lane. Turnbull, right-footed delivery, flicked on! Oh, over the bar. My goodness. Let's see this again. Wonderful delivery. And it was flicked on there by Will Fish. I was trying to figure out who it was, and it was Fish. It got some sort of contact that just flew over the bar. And that's actually their first touch in the opposition box in the second half. They hadn't had a touch in Sheffield United's up box since the 41st minute before that one from Will Fish there from the corner. That shows the real lack of threat that Cardiff have had in the second half, anywhere near the goal. And again, I said at half time, it surprised me that Omar Reza brought off two of probably his best players from the first half, and the fact of Will Alves and Ollie Tanner, in the fact they were the outball, they were the outlet, they were getting them up the field, they were creating opportunities in the wide areas, and they both come off at half time. They lost that little bit of a threat. Salek does well to win the ball here. Willock out wide to Salek again, drifts it into the box, and Matey got ahead to it, but far too close to Michael Cooper again, right down the keeper's throat, and no major threat at all in the end there. Again, he got in behind Chowdhury, did Matey, and this is just a simple catch for Michael Cooper. Chambers tried to force the ball through the middle. Might have actually cost them a problem. No, it's actually covered over well by Will Fish. There was some claims though from Sheffield United there was a foul in the middle there, as Matey wins the ball, and advantage played as he was brought down. Turnbull out to the left side for Ashford. Kean Ashford breaks into the box. Little challenge with Chowdhury. Had a little stumble there, Ashford, but wasn't claiming a penalty anyway. So O'Hare with a flick on, Fish with a clearance. Nicely brought down in the middle. O'Hare. Nice little jink there. And through it comes. And the chance to shoot for Kiefer Moore. Well blocked by Callum Chambers for the corner. That's a massive challenge. Lovely little run through the middle from Harmer. Absolutely architectural for Sheffield United today. Everything they've done well has come through him. And Kiefer Moore with a shot. Well charged down. Well stopped by Callum Chambers. Massive piece of defending from him. And puts it out for the Sheffield United corner to deny them a second goal that would settle the nerves of Sheffield United and maybe put the Cardiff City hopes of a comeback to bed. Big challenge by Chambers, but a big corner to defend here. Right-footed delivery by Harmer. Round the back. Holding was threatening. Sousa keeps it alive. O'Hare with a flick on delivery. It's bouncing down in the middle. Thumped away by Fish. Got a bit chaotic, a bit of mayhem in the box there, and Cardiff a bit lucky they got it away, but here they come again. Sheffield United down the left. Hammer right across the box, and somehow it didn't find anybody in red and white in there. And Turnbull now tries to come away with the ball. Nice work on the spin. Calls a handball from the crowd, but nothing that I could see. O'Dowda down the left here for Cardiff. Finding Willock. Chris Willock with a cross. Bit of a deflection. Falls for Mansverk. O'Dowda couldn't keep it, but Mansverk receives it again. O'Dowda. Willock. Is there a chance here for Cardiff? Willock with a cross. Not cleanly cleared away by Sheffield United, but again, Hammer there to alleviate the pressure. The clearance by Burrows is far from convincing. Maybe Cardiff starting to apply a little bit more pressure now. Can they end with a flurry? Or is it going to be deja vu for Sheffield United, who led 1-0 at Plymouth last week and dropped points, lost the game in the latter stages with 2 late goals? Is it going to be the same again with a cross? Not fully cleared. Turnbull gets a bit loose in possession, but does well to stick a foot in and get it back. Fish. Given wide here. 15 to go. The ball fed down the left-hand side, but Chowdhury should deal with that, and does. And now, Raksaki. Can Sheffield United make something of this little bit of space down the right? Not really. Peck. Raksaki bundled over, and will get the free kick off David Turnbull there, who claims his innocence, but it looked as clear as day that it was a little nudge and a foul. And I think Cardiff are eyeing up another change here. And Ruben Colwell is going to be the one that's coming on. 22-year-old Welshman, who can add a little bit of extra attacking threat, and Sievert Mansverk is going to make way for him. He scored 1 championship goal this season, Colwell. He scored it in a 5-0 win over Plymouth back in October. In that game he got 2 assists as well. He's committed to 5 goal contributions this season, and 3 of them came in that 5-0 home win over Plymouth. Got an assist away at Coventry as well, and an assist away at Bristol City in his other games. But here, Sheffield United with a free kick. A decent area, a lot further out for Gus Hammer to try and have any sort of pop at it. As Ben Burton Diaz is going to be coming on, and Cesarin Raksaki is going to make way. So Raksaki off, and Burton Diaz on. Some fresh legs in the attack again for Sheffield United for the final 13 minutes or so of this game. So Ben Burton Diaz on here for Sheffield United in the latter stages. Hammer feeds it into the box, headed away well by Fish, and the follow-up shot was hit cleanly, but hit well wide by Peck. A reminder of the table then, and what this result would mean if it stays as it is for Sheffield United. They would stay in third, obviously, but they would close the gap to Leeds to just 2 points at the top 2, and 5 points remains the gap between them and Burnley with a win for Sheffield United tonight. That is, of course, now Leeds will play later, so that could all change a little later on with Leeds still to play. But at the moment, Sheffield United closing that gap, unless Cardiff could have their say later on here. Colwell. Wide on the right-hand side. It comes. Cardiff trying to conjure something up. A reminder for you, Oxford against Leeds is an 8 o'clock kickoff tonight. We'll be live from 10 to 8 this evening, 10 minutes before kickoff for that one. It's Matey. Done well in the air in the second half. Jakob Matey. Willock. Down the right it goes to Ashford. Keeps it in play. Ashford finds it backwards. Now to Turnbull. Chambers. Fish. Ashford trying to fizz one towards the box. Cleared away. Colwell keeps it alive. Trying to threaten in the wide areas, but battling Vinicius Souza. And losing that battle is Colwell. As Rinamota trying to keep it alive. It's well worked down that right side there from Cardiff. They kept the ball well in the last few minutes. Colwell in a tight space. Not much room to manoeuvre. Got to get the ball towards the box here, Cardiff. There's still 10 minutes. They want to try and get something. Put it onto the head of someone in the middle. Or at least try and recycle it and go the other side. Try something different. The ball around the outside, and well, that's not going to help them one bit. So that was played out of play there from O'Dowda. Well, some nervous faces around Bramall Lane. They have 10 minutes of more nail-biting and worry, it seems. It's certainly not the most kind of simple, although Gus Hammer might change that. Good ball across. It's a centre chance. Oh, how have they not got a shot off? It's cleaned away. Still alive, though. Down the left side, Burton Diaz with a flick-on header from Peck. And Griffiths there. Or sorry, Horvath. With a decent gather, but how did Sheffield United not find any sort of shot, never mind a goal, in that sort of moment? Again, Gus Hammer, everything positive about Sheffield United tonight has come through Gus Hammer. Where would they be without him this afternoon? He's done everything right. He's certainly not the reason why they are not further ahead. He's the reason why they are ahead. Just a little bit laboured in midfield here, Cardiff. There's just not enough movement. They're all just trying to pile up the front and wait for a delivery that's just not going to come. So again, Sheffield United a little bit sloppy. Colwell. Can they make something of this, Cardiff? Willock. Again, not much to be seen there. Gus Hammer sees it out for a throw, but I gotta say, Jakob Matey's got himself involved a lot more in the second half, but he's just not getting enough service. He's done a good lot of work in the air in the second half. I mentioned it. He's looked eerily strong in the second half and a threat when the ball is found into the box, but it's just not enough. Not on enough occasions has he been serviced in the box and found in those areas. And Sheffield United having a little bit of a worry here with Gus Hammer down, whether this is a little bit of time wasting, professional time wasting, or it is a genuine concern about Gus Hammer. And we'll just have to wait and see what comes of this. But Chris Wilder trying to get some information to his players. 7 minutes of normal time to go. That man on the ground, who will be helped back to his feet, is the man that would be sealing 3 points for Sheffield United if it stays as it is, and putting them back within 5 points of the league leaders and 2 points behind second place Leeds as it stands. Gus Hammer is coming off now, which is a little bit of a concern. They do not want to be without him in their trip to Turf Moor on Monday night. Most certainly they do not. He's the man of the moment in this one. As there's going to be a double substitution here. Rob Holding and Hammer off then. So Holding and Hammer being replaced by Femi Sariki and Jack Robinson. So Robinson and Sariki on, and Hammer and Holding off. Straight swaps then, as Jack Robinson takes the captain's armband. Just over 5 minutes to go. Long throw into the towards the box by O'Dowda. So the clearance comes back towards the Cardiff captain. Willock. Can Cardiff conjure up something late here, or will Sheffield United do enough to hang on? Caldwell, a little bit of a lazy ball through the middle. Sheffield United retrieve. Further forward from Vinicius Souza, but a little bit lazy from him too. Gifting the possession back to Cardiff. Turnbull. To Willock. Back to David Turnbull. Space to stride forward for Turnbull. Drifts the ball wide. O'Dowda's cross. Took a deflection, but it's cleared away by Anel Akmanhodzic. Will be a throw into Cardiff down the left side. It's nail biting for both sets of fans. The long throw into the box. Bouncing down. Oh, couldn't quite find a player in blue there as it bobbled its way through the Sheffield United box. And the Blades get it clear. Danger. For the moment anyway. Oh, it's a bit of toying at the back. And Kiefer Moore's got a straight run through the middle. He's not got much pace. And he can't find the shot. But it'll be rifled into the back of the net by Ben Brereton Diaz. Right place, right time, and a perfect nerve reliever for Sheffield United. They're going to take all 3 points, just as Coventry did earlier against West Brom. They take a 2-goal lead and practically gifted the second. Cardiff, architects of their own downfall. It's really bad defending at the back. Wasting time on the ball, toying about. Gotta see it again. This is dreadful. From Andy Rinomhota. Caught on the ball by Kiefer Moore, who really didn't have the pace to go one-on-one himself. But what he did so well is he held his run, held it up well, and squared it across for someone else in the middle. And Ben Brereton Diaz with a gut-busting run to get into the box and get the finish, rifling it into the net, making damn sure that Sheffield United will be coming away with all 3 points. And that is the goal they've been waiting and begging for the whole of the second half. And super sub Ben Brereton Diaz completes the job. Sheffield United 2, Cardiff City 0. And that really is that. As there's a player down for Cardiff. They're not down or out yet. Very much not. They're still only a point off safety. They might have a god-awful goal difference in comparison to Derby County. But they have a better goal difference than the team above them in Luton, who are a point above them. So they're still very much in the conversation and in the mix, Cardiff. And they've got some big games coming up. None bigger than the one on Easter Monday evening, or the Easter Monday afternoon, sorry, when they host Oxford United at the Cardiff City Stadium. They then host West Brom in their final home game of the season before a trip to Carrow Road on the final day. And 3 more games to try and secure safety. As a bit of bad news actually, Ruben Colwill, who's not long on the field, he came on the field in the 76th minute. He's lasted 12 minutes and he's had to come off here, which is a worry, major worry. So Joel Baggin has come on in his place, the young Irishman. So he's on in his place now, which is not a positive sign for Ruben Colwill there, having to go off after just 12 minutes of action. It's a lot calmer. You can feel the tension released when the ball rifled the back of the net there. And this stadium takes a real sigh of relief. And they might want to add a third just to help themselves a little bit more. Peck there with his shot, but a pretty tame one towards Ethan Horvath. These are the fine margins in these games. And Cardiff were pushing for an equaliser. You take risks you normally wouldn't have taken in different circumstances. You have so many bodies forward that one individual error will cost you the whole end of the game and the whole opportunity to stave off a defeat and try and rescue something. And in the end, Rinomhota is the one that ultimately costs his team a goal and possibly a chance at nicking a point here at Bramall Lane. And they're moving the ball nicely well now. The 6 out of minutes. And the header from Salek there is right down the throat again of Cooper. I gotta say, overall, Cardiff haven't done well enough. I mean, when they haven't done well with their centre forwards, when they're central attackers. And I said that in the first half. You know, I'm not here to coach a team. I'm not here to tell a manager what to do with his tactics. But I thought Alves and Tanner were the 2 threats in the wide areas, and the 2 central players were the 2 that weren't doing the business in the first half. And I thought if anybody out of the front 4 of Cardiff should have come off, it would have been those 2 centrally. Omar Riva then takes off the 2 wide players. That stifles the team for 20 minutes, a good 20 minutes, before he makes further changes to add a little bit of attack and threat on the field again. And they have a little bit more opportunity. And still, despite Matey being a little bit better aerially, when they get the ball into the box, there's just not enough of a potency and not enough of a hunger in the forwards to get on the ball, attack the ball, actually have a shot on goal. And all afternoon, that's been their problem. They've had good moments in wide areas. They have a lot of quality in wide areas, Cardiff, but it's the central areas they're not doing well enough. And when they've got the ball in those areas, Salek and Matey will both know they haven't done well enough today. It's not that they haven't had ample opportunity. They've had 9 shots in the game, Cardiff, but only 1 of them on target. 4 of them off target is probably the sign and the tail of the tape, really, for Cardiff. It's not enough. And if they'd have found an equaliser when it was 1-0 and got that goal to level the game, it would have been a very different story here at Bramall Lane. But they were left pushing and forcing themselves forward for an equalising chance. And in the end, they end up conceding up the other end. We see it so often. It's finding that balance. And Cardiff might have just tipped themselves too far over the edge. And an individual mistake cost them a second goal. Wraps the game up for Sheffield United, but completely finishes the match from Cardiff's point of view in an attacking sense. Three minutes of the 6 added remain. And I don't even think Cardiff could dream of getting something out of this night. But you never know. I mean, I don't even want to start questioning that, because integrity is important. You're not meant to believe it. Turnbull, why, my goodness. Burton Diaz intercepting a really weak pass from David Turnbull. And in the end, Renamoto there doing well to recover the ball back and win a free kick for Cardiff. I think he might have hurt himself in the process there. He's feeling a bit of pain. Here's O'Dowda down the left side for Cardiff. Fizz towards the box and the header looping. Again, not much threat. Salak again getting a header, but again, another bit of catching practice for Michael Cooper. I think Michael Cooper's had more testing catches in catching practice and training than he has had tonight against the Cardiff centre forwards. I mean, do you ever see that kind of like the board they put in front of the goalkeepers and they throw the ball at the board and it pings off in different directions? I think Michael Cooper would have had more of a problem in his own goal tonight if that board was just sitting in the 6-yard box and they were throwing balls at it than actually against the centre forwards of Cardiff tonight, because they've just not been anywhere near it. And you know, without any sort of aerial or any sort of threat from a centre forward position, you're always going to struggle. Especially if you're fighting against relegation, you need someone there to galvanise you and give you belief that you can get a goal. And I just don't feel Cardiff believe that. I don't think they believe in the players they've got up front, that they can go and take it to an opponent and score a big goal to galvanise the team. I just don't believe they feel that. From what I've watched in these last 95 minutes, it doesn't feel like they believe in their own centre forwards. And you could probably argue, why would they? Why would you believe? But listen, Cardiff are not down and out. I said it already before. They are far from down and out in this game, or in this season. Only a point off safety, and anything can still happen with 3 games to go. It's far from done. But tonight wasn't much expectation on them coming here to Bramall Lane tonight, a place they haven't won in 14 years, and a place and a team that hasn't lost 4 in a row, Sheffield United, since 2013. So it was always going to be a slim to none chance. They gave themselves a chance and messed it all up in the latter stages. And there's the final whistle. Back to winning ways for the Blades in a much needed point of the season. 3 defeats on the bounce for the first time since 2017. And tonight they bounce back with a 2-0 win over struggling Cardiff. A Cardiff side that might on another day have caused Sheffield United trouble and problems. But might they be struggling their way to relegation? Or is there still hope for Cardiff City? For Sheffield United, they're now just 2 points off second place Leeds, 5 points off the league leaders Burnley. Their season is far from over yet. There are still a couple of chapters to come. And quite perfectly, the schedule makers have worked it out massively. Because who does Sheffield United play next? Burnley at Turf Moor, and you'll watch that live here in LFS on Easter Monday at 5:30. For tonight, we have one more to come, Oxford against Leeds. But Sheffield United back to winning ways, and much needed indeed. For Cardiff, they were there and threw it all away in the latter moments with a individual error. But Ben, Brereton Diaz with a rifling effort sealing the deal. Final score from Bramall Lane. It's finished Sheffield United 2, Cardiff City 0. Wow. And there we are. That's the way it ends in our penultimate game of Good Friday here on LFS. 2 down, 1 to come. And we've seen 2 2-0 wins for our 2 home teams we've watched this afternoon. Will it be a three-peat? Or will Leeds jump back to the top of the Championship with another away win? We'll find out very shortly. Oxford against Leeds is on the way in about less than half an hour's time here in LFS. Hope you can join us for that. Thanks for your company. We'll see you soon.